Welcome back to another segment of our Select Series for 2021, our virtual customer meetings. I'm with John Herrick, who's one of our beef team members, and also we're with a good friend, Jack Ward, who's Executive Vice President of American Hereford. And we're going to visit a little bit about what Hereford is doing and what we're doing in the Hereford breed as well. Jack, you're a good friend and have been for a long time, and I always enjoy visiting with you. Just catch us up on some of the things that you're involved in right now as the breed and some of the programs that you're really excited about.
Well, Brian, thank you, and thanks to Select Sires for inviting me to be a part of this series. And for us at the American Hereford Association, I want to say that there's a lot of new and exciting things going on. But I'll be honest with you, we're just building from our basics and what we're doing and staying committed to the types of things that are going to generate interest in Hereford cattle in the commercial market. Over the last number of years, we've seen a tremendous amount of increase in AI usage. It's gone up more than 100% over the last 20 years. We could go back as far as the early 2000s when the whole herd reporting became effective in the Hereford breed, and I would tell you, I think that was one of the monumental times that really positioned Hereford well for the future, because our system is based off whole herd reporting, and as it's evolved over time, honestly, we've added genomics. We now produce a genetic evaluation report weekly through a one-step method that takes the pedigree, the genomic information, along with the phenotypes to produce, and our breeders have stayed committed to it, and we have seen a tremendous amount of increase in genotyping. And our breeders are really committed to breed improvement, and we've worked a little bit here over the last 2 or 3 years in our national ad campaign, and it's about come home to Hereford. And coming home to Hereford means not only selecting cattle based off of a great performance system, but you're dealing with history and historic breeders that have been committed to the basics, and that is disposition, producing cattle that have some longevity to them because of feet and leg soundness. They're just good stockmen, and I'm really proud of what we're doing, accomplishing, kind of taking some of the old with the new and staying committed to the commercial industry.
I think we referenced it a little bit ago, but I think one of the things that's really exciting is watching the amount of progress you can make. You talked about the increase of AI, but the genomic pieces that you work with, but how quickly, and it amazes me. I mean, you and I have been doing this for a while, but to think we can move a breed or a set of cattle as quickly as we can today with these tools, and it's astounding.
It really is, Brian, and as you said, we've been friends for a long time. Your boss years ago, Roy Wallace, talked to me about a lot of different things and staying committed to it, and we see that in our breeders. I think it's been 20-some years ago that actually Lorna was a part of a strategic planning session that we had at Hereford, and her comment was, you had to fix some things, and if you wanted to be a part of the commercial industry, you had to fix things and stay committed, and we did. And as we've moved along, we've added some traits like dry matter intake. We added a teat and udder EPD just to make improvement in areas that we thought we needed to make improvement. And a lot of this information and our genetic evaluation growth is based off of a lot of data we get from our young sire test program, and I'm very proud of that. We get approximately 2,000 to 3,000 head of commercial cows bred annually to young bulls, and they're compared to reference sires, and all of that data feeds into the genetic evaluation, and through that, over the 20-some years of existence, we've now got somewhere around 15,000 records that are actual carcass records. We have nearly 10,000 dry matter intake records, GrowSafe system, and so it's just building on all this and staying committed to it. And we got our eyes open, right? Hereford was king 30, 40 years ago. We went through a time where we suffered. And it's great to see it building back, and heterosis is a great thing, and Hereford offers a great deal of value from that standpoint as well.
Right, and I think one of the things you mentioned, that young sire program, and we are very glad that you always reach out, and I think I can safely say we participate every time we have the opportunity, and it's been good for us too. So, no, thank you. I appreciate that, and we all do. So, John, I'm going to start with you. We're going to talk about some bulls briefly, but I think we got a lineup that we're pretty proud of, and when you put them all together, our Hereford lineup is not huge. But if you look at the pieces and parts that we put together, we have a pretty strong Hereford lineup. So start off.
Yeah, Brian, we're going to start with a couple of bulls to open up the sire directory this year in Power Surge and Historic. I'm going to discuss Power Surge a little bit, an exciting young calf that comes to us out of the Boyd program in Kentucky. For those of us that know Charlie, phenotype and having functional cattle is what he takes pride in raising. This happens to be a bull that comes to us modest for calving needs, but yet when you study the bull, lots of substance and mass in him, comes off on a good foot, extra length to that hip. So he's going to be a little more moderate in his frame size. I think he's one that's going to make some easier fleshing cattle with that added substance to him. And when you look at him from the front end, he's going to offer the eye pigment to go with that he comes. He is heterozygous polled. But we just appreciate the phenotype and substance he brings to our lineup.
And we just John and I actually both saw this bull just the other day, and he is a dude. I mean, we were really impressed. So he's done what he's supposed to do. I'm going to talk briefly about a bull called Historic, and this is a bull that's kind of fun for us to have. Ned and Jan Ward are good friends, and they've done a great job in the Hereford breed of making cattle that go out and work for others, and that I think you'll see their pedigree and their prefix show up in lots of cattle today, and we know that. Historic is a sensation, and we're glad to have him. But I think for me, as far as acquiring a bull like that, we got a program that's backing it up that's really dedicated to maternal, dedicated to making good cows and making those cows work for their customers. And so even though he's not the highest growth bull, and that's not why we got him, there's a lot of good here in terms of the cow families, in terms of the maternal strength that he brings. Carcass data, he beats the average on that, which I think is pretty cool. Another one, I'm going to throw this back to you just for 1 second. Sustained cow fertility.
Right.
Relatively new, and people are looking at it probably more than they did when it was introduced, but this bull excels for that. But tell me just briefly where it fits in what Hereford breeders are doing.
Certainly. So sustained cow fertility a few years ago when we first introduced our indexes, and we have 3 of them today, 2 of them are maternal, 1 is a terminal index. One of the challenges that were given to us by Mike McNeil at the time that was helping us with them is getting to fertility a little better, a little easier, longevity, and looking at, instead of trying to look at correlated traits in your indexes, because sustained cow fertility has a huge influence in our maternal indexes. And so instead of trying to correlate traits to come up with that, we were so many years into whole herd reporting, where we track cow inventories and we get reproductive status on those dams now for over 20 years. And so with that data, we were able to come up with this trait. And sustained cow fertility is a little bit different than what some breed associations offer in terms of stayability, because we give credit to those sires as soon as their daughters come into production, right? And so we give them some credit as they move along. And this one is actually projected out to 12 years because as we know, it's kind of a great thing with Hereford cattle. They last a long time. It kind of comes as a disservice to some of our breeders because the bulls last a little too long when we try to market them. But one of the things that we've found is that over time, getting them up there, getting them a little older, that longevity is such a key component to the commercial industry. Sustained cow fertility does have a huge effect on both of our maternal traits, and we're very happy that breeders are again utilizing that data, and we're not looking at it as some sort of a correlated trait with others.
No, I think it's great, because that longevity thing, we take it for granted sometimes, but it's huge.
Right.
It is huge. So thank you, Jack. Another bull I want to talk about is a bull called Cuda, and this is one that I don't care what breed this bull would lie in. Cuda puts together a data set like few bulls can, left to right. We got calving ease, we got growth, we got maternal traits, we got sustained cow fertility, we got carcass traits, we got CHB, we got about everything, and the cattle are good. Mm-hmm. And so around the country, we see more Cudas showing up in sale reports as being some of the highest selling cattle. I think when we talk to breeders that want to complement matings and say, what can I use to get me the farthest down the road in one mating with this AI mating jack? By the way,
right.
here we're gonna go with a bull called Cuda, and we're gonna have success. And he's a fun bull to work with. Comes from a nice program in North Dakota. Knollcrest is involved, and they've done a great job promoting this bull. We're doing a fun job promoting this bull, but he's a good one, and I expect him to have a great year this year. So, John, I'm going to turn it back to you for one more bull, one of our newest additions, Masterpiece.
He's a new addition, not a new bull. We set out to find a horned calving ease bull that was high accuracy and sleep at night calving ease, and I think we landed at Ochsner's in Wyoming to find the bull Masterpiece. And I think if you look at his data set, he's in the top 3% for all the calving ease traits in the breed, from calving ease direct, birth weight, to maternal calving ease. He hits that hole nicely. I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the black baldy cow. I would say a majority of the Masterpiece semen will end up in calving ease projects to make that black baldy, and so I think he'll find a nice place in our lineup where he can go out and not only serve as a calving ease specialist, but provide amount of maternal function to go with that calving ease. And so he's not a small bull. He's going to be a bull that'll have 6-frame cattle, lots of extension, but they're just built to be calving ease cattle.
And you made a very good point, and we talk about it, but I think it's important to bring up again. That is our push and our use of Hereford bulls over the years. And you're going back to Roy. We want to be a part of the purebred industry all the time. We have to be.
Right.
But in essence, one of our real goals is taking care of the producer that's doing it grassroots level, and that Hereford cross on about any other breed has paid dividends.
That's right.
So it's been great to be a part of that. We're glad that you're here, and we're glad for your comments, John. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's our Hereford talk for this year. Thanks.